I wanted to see Glen Affric in the autumn, so I set off north on a dark October morning. There's a signpost for the Meallan Viewpoint walk. A set of steps lead up through the birch trees. Meallan is Gaelic for the little hill. The path winds round to reach an open clearing, then swings back round again, climbing uphill all the way. The path gains height quite quickly. I was now above the tree cover and the glen was opening out in front of me. Over to the southwest, Loch Affric appeared just ahead, and in the distance, the mountains of the Campbell forest. I had now reached the steps to the viewpoint. On the skyline ahead, I could make out Sgurna Lapich, one of the 8 Monroes that make up the north ridge of the glen. I had reached the viewpoint. It was a lovely wee walk and thoroughly recommended. I was going to take the estate track along the river to where a short path climbs to give a bit of a view of the loch. As I was leaving the viewpoint, there was another superb view of the late sun lighting up Loch Benaveen below. Over to the east, at the crest of a ridge, I noticed a wind turbine. I was amazed and disappointed that a monstrosity like this was sighted so near to this beautiful glen. I headed back down. The views down to the Caledonian pines surrounding Loch Benaveen below were absolutely breathtaking. I carried on through the glorious autumn foliage and back down to the car park. I headed over to a picnic table which overlooked the river. The sunny day was now giving way to cloud with the occasional bright spells. That was disappointing. As I gazed ahead, I noticed a wee plaque over to the right, so I went over for a closer look. The plaque was placed there as part of the Queen's Golden Jubilee, elevating the status of the wonderful Glen Affric granny pines. It was still very mild, a perfect day for a walk, and I headed down to the path below. I took the very good sunlit estate track along the north side of the River Affric. It made for easy walking. This picturesque glen was almost stripped of its grandeur by thoughtless, greedy landowners who were only interested in making profit. The introduction of sheep and deer almost stripped the glen bare of its native woodland. Then, in 1951, the Forestry Commission took over and brought a halt to the planting of rows and rows of conifers. And now we have the wonderful woodland we see before us today. The ferns that lined the estate track were now the most beautiful shade of russet red, and handsomely complemented the wonderful autumn shades of the trees. It was mid-October, and this avenue of mixed woodland was now the most magnificent shades of red, amber and gold. Another break in the trees gave a good view back down river. I noticed another couple of walkers making their way along the track. The day had turned out a little cloudier than I would have liked, but it did nothing to detract from the autumn colours. As I rounded a corner, the track rose to a high point, giving a most amazing view of the estate buildings below. I gazed ahead in wonder. This was what I came to see. The sun was breaking through. This is where the loch becomes the river. I headed down the track ahead. It is a most beautiful corner of the glen. A great deal of Scotland was at one time covered by the ancient Caledonian forest that appeared shortly after the last ice age, about 10,000 years ago. The birch appeared first, making the soil suitable for the other species that made up the remnants of the forest that are now being restored today. There was always deer here, but their numbers were kept in control by the wolves. But they were wiped out in Scotland a long time ago, and now there is the need for the managed control of their numbers that the shooting estates that we have here can provide. Glen Affric is considered by many to be the most beautiful glen in Scotland, especially when the sun comes out. I took the path that headed directly uphill from the entrance to the estate. The soil at Glen Affric was not really suitable for the commercial forestry that spurs much of the rest of the Highland glens. That and the fact that it was so remote would have made it a bit of an operation to fell and remove them. Every so often the sun would make an appearance, illuminating the golden foliage in the glen below. I carried on a little up the path. The glen here is a much more open field. The Caledonian pines appear in the most attractive clumps and rows throughout the length of the glen. The wonderful golden colours of the rowan and birch and the russet of the ferns are absolutely breathtaking. The north side of Glen Affric is particularly impressive, consisting of a ridge that includes 8 amazing Munros, including the highest peak north of the Great Glen, Carnegie. Time was getting on. I needed to head back. The walk round Glen Affric is over 11 miles long. This was just an appetizer. It was not much more than 2 miles there and back, but it was stunning just the same. Glen Affric is off the beaten track. For most people it's a fairly lengthy drive just to get here, but when you do get here it doesn't take long to realise why it's often regarded as one of the finest glens in Scotland. For raw grandeur it is hard to beat. It is the most stunning examples of mountain, forest and glen. Then there's the rivers, the waterfalls and the lochs. A visit to Glen Affric is not to be missed.